What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment-related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Watch Dogs Legion came out with some brand new footage, guys, over at Ubisoft Forward, and what I gotta say, guys, is what we saw is more of the same of what we kind of did see, but we even got some more in-depth looks at what is coming now in Watch Dogs Legion, which I'll get to here in a second. But what the big part about this, guys, is that we got our official release date that is confirmed at this point in time, guys. We are going to be getting our hands on Watch Dogs Legion October 29th, guys, and that is something that's really exciting for me. So the 29th of October, I was actually thinking that there was a possibility that this release date was going to be pushed even into 2021 because of the pandemic going on. And so I'm really excited, guys, that this is a game that's going to be coming out this year. This is a game that I've been looking forward to. I'm really excited about it. I know a lot of you all are as well. This could be the biggest Watch Dogs game in the entire franchise at this point. It looks like they are taking significant measures to make sure that this is the biggest in the entire franchise at this point. And from what we saw, guys, from a graphic standpoint to all the different ways in which you can traverse this world in London, within Watch Dogs Legion is something really special. And I think so at the end of the day, guys, we are going to be getting our hands on this game a lot sooner than I was actually thinking that we were going to, because we hadn't gotten a release date earlier on, even though it was supposed to come out, I believe, in March of this year, and then it got postponed indefinitely. And so I was worried that we weren't going to be able to get our hands on this game until after, like this year, like into 2021. So with that, it's really exciting, guys. October 29th, 2020 is when we're going to be getting Watch Dogs Legion. And so what I'll say, though, about just the entire experience based upon, Watch Dogs Legion in particular here, I really thought that they did a really good job of explaining, all of the ins and outs of what we can expect coming into Watch Dogs Legion. And that being said, a lot of people may not have even watched some of the footage from previous times that they talked about Watch Dogs Legion, but I think it's really good that they brought some things up that we already knew about Watch Dogs Legion, as well as kind of introducing new things to us as well. I love the presentation. I thought they did a great job overall. I wish that they would have touched on like the multiplayer aspects of Watch Dogs Legion. I kind of would have liked that. I love the way, though, from a single player perspective, being able to traverse the world. I just would have liked to see personally some more, other modes outside of like the story and the campaign. The story, I think, is going to be great. I think that the campaign itself is going to be great, but I wanted to see some more things outside of that. That being like, the multiplayer modes, some co-op modes and things of that nature that I would have liked to see, guys. I think that there's a lot here from a customization perspective, from a multiplayer perspective, from even just a single player perspective. There's a lot here in Watch Dogs Legion. I'm really excited about it. We'll be giving you guys more information as it gets closer to the October 29th release date. Now, what I will say is one thing, guys. Just a word of caution. When you look at these release dates, you got to take them with a pinch of salt. Now, obviously, I would say that Ubisoft is going to try as hard as they can to stick to that October 29th release date for Watch Dogs Legion, simply because they've got a list of other games that are coming out, and, they want to make sure that they kind of meet these deadlines and such. But what I will say is this. Because of this pandemic going on in our world right now, guys, you got to take it with a pinch of salt, because there's always a possibility that these release dates are going to change as we get closer. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen, but we've seen a number of games have to do that, even games like The Last of Us Part 2. Now, we don't know if it was necessarily just because of the pandemic, but I'm sure that that played a part in it. So kind of, take everything that you hear as far as the release dates are concerned about these games coming out in 2020, kind of with a pinch of salt, guys, even into 2021, because we just don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, at this point in time, they've had enough time to get everything in place that they needed to with Watch Dogs Legion, and it will release on October 29th. But at least at this point in time, guys, Watch Dogs Legion, the release date has been confirmed, guys, and I'm extremely excited about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Watch Dogs Legion content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Ubisoft Forward, I thought, was a really great presentation, guys, where they kind of were straight to the point when the presentation started, and they kind of went from, through a few of their biggest titles that are coming out in the foreseeable future. One of those being, though, guys, a game that is new called Elite Squad. And this is a game, guys, that really, when I started watching it, kind of reminded me a little bit of Fortnite, kind of cartoony feel and such. And then all of a sudden, when you get those first glimpses of a familiar figure, a familiar character, and you can't miss it, guys, because in Elite Squad, of course, you see none other than Sam Fisher. Unless it's a different, a different character within the Splinter Cell universe, but that sure as heck seemed like Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell in the Elite Squad. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs of Elite Squad, guys. I don't know. This is another Tom Clancy, of course, title coming out. I'm not sure about the history of Elite Squad, about, if there's any books based upon it, and who all is a part of the Elite Squad. I'm certainly going to find out more information as we go here. But what I will say is this. Does Elite Squad, this announcement coming out, and of course they very much so made a point to show us Sam Fisher from none other than Splinter Cell, does this tell us that Splinter Cell is back? Now, what's interesting is that, we didn't get an announcement of an official standalone Splinter Cell continuation, which at this point in time, guys, would be Splinter Cell 7. We did not get that here at Ubisoft Forward. However, does Elite Squad kind of lead us, slowly but surely, are we going to be getting a Splinter Cell game at some point down the road? And we've been talking about it here on the YouTube channel quite a bit, guys. You guys can check out all the Splinter Cell content here on the YouTube channel. But what I'll say is this. I do believe that Ubisoft has in the back of their mind what the fan base wants in another Splinter Cell continuation. So with that, guys, of course we had Ghost Recon Wildlands, which Sam Fisher made an appearance in there. And then, of course, now with Elite Squad, he's making an appearance here in a cartoon type of format. With that, I do believe that we are going to get a Splinter Cell at some point or another. Now, it's really unfortunate we didn't get an announcement for it. Maybe they felt that they weren't going to announce the Splinter Cell game because of Elite Squad. They wanted to kind of have that as a focal point and kind of just give a kudos to, Sam Fisher in the Splinter Cell universe. Maybe they're planning on never going back to Splinter Cell. There's been a lot of rumblings, a lot of talk, though, that Splinter Cell is very much so alive and well. And so with that, guys, does this kind of build a case that they are absolutely going to be working on another Splinter Cell game? I could make the case that yes and no. You could kind of go either way. Part of it is that maybe they're just moving on. They're kind of putting Sam Fisher and the Splinter Cell, universe into other games. Or they're saying, look, we haven't forgotten about you yet. It's coming at some point or another. Or at some point or another, that being like a standalone Splinter Cell game. So with that, guys, Elite Squad, though, what I'll say is it looks pretty intriguing. I'm actually quite excited to get my hands on, a copy of this game when it does release. And so with that, it was actually one of my big surprises, obviously, of Ubisoft Forward. I thought it was a really big surprise, and this is something that really excites me, like in a major way, because obviously, guys, Splinter Cell has a very, a place really close to my heart, guys. My favorite stealth game pretty much of all time. And I'm really excited to see a continuation of it at some point or another. We've talked on the YouTube channel about, the hopes and the, the wants of another Splinter Cell continuation. We haven't gotten it yet. But this is just another thing, another kudos to the franchise from Ubisoft, another potential, statement saying that, look, we haven't forgotten about this franchise. It's going to come back at some point. Or it could mean that, look, we're not going back to, the Splinter Cell universe, but we are going to tie it into other franchises and IPs that we own. With that, though, I want to pass the question on to all of you. After seeing the Elite Squad, this reveal trailer, and seeing Sam Fisher and some Splinter Cell kudos in that trailer, what do you guys think that means for the future of this franchise? Do you think it means that they're moving on completely and they're just going to have, Sam Fisher in the Splinter Cell universe in different games and IPs they own, that being Ubisoft? Or do you think it means that they are definitely going to be coming back to Splinter Cell at some point or another? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Splinter Cell content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. there was a big moment at Ubisoft Forward where Rainbow Six got kind of the spotlight, and what I think was something really big, and I didn't even realize this until it was revealed to us, guys, that Rainbow Six Siege is celebrating 60 million players. And look, guys, that is an astronomical number when you consider where Rainbow Six Siege started. And so let's talk about this. So obviously, guys, Rainbow Six, another Tom Clancy game owned by Ubisoft. This was a title that was riddled with controversies and problems when it first released. And with that, guys, came people thinking that this game was dead on arrival. And what happened here? Well, Ubisoft, publisher, developers, working together to have what is, at this point in time, Rainbow Six Siege, one of the best comeback stories in all of gaming, and I don't think there's any real debate about it. I mean, you could debate like No Man's Sky was maybe a bigger comeback story, but this is a huge comeback story, not only from, just a gameplay, from, an experience perspective, but also from an esports perspective. This is a game, guys, that is growing astronomically over time, whether you're talking about concurrent players, whether you're talking about players just in general, 60 million strong and growing, or if you're just talking about from an esports perspective of that scene growing as well, which it is at a very rapid rate, unlike anything we've seen as far as first-person shooters are concerned, minus that of maybe Call of Duty as well as like CSGO. What I will say is this, guys. Rainbow Six Siege, they've got something really special here, and I'm wondering, and they talked, of course, at Ubisoft Forward about, they're continuing to support this title, and they plan on supporting it. Sounds like for the next decade almost, guys. They look like it sounds like they've got a lot of content planned for us as players. I'm not very good at Rainbow Six Siege, but I know that a lot of you love this title. I love it as well. I love it from a viewership perspective, watching the esports side of things. I love watching other people play it because it's one of those, viewership experiences that you can watch and enjoy it a lot. And it really does take a lot of skill, guys, and from someone who's not very good at the game, and I've played a lot of shooters over the course of time. It's a very good game, and I love what they've done. And the best part about it was, from at least what I saw, was that the developers are admitting that there's still problems within Rainbow Six Siege, and they're still trying to work on those things. It's really refreshing seeing a developer come out and basically state that there are problems and they are trying to fix those things. And this is a long journey, and they're going to consistently be doing the things necessary to make this game grow over time. And that's a real reassuring thing, guys. They tweeted out, Rainbow Six game, of course, Rainbow Six Siege, the Twitter account tweeted out, "Thank you all. We made it here today because of you." 60 million players, guys. It's incredible. It's one of the best comeback stories we have seen in all of gaming. And like I said, the only other one I could really compare it to at this point in time would be No Man's Sky. But what they've done, Rainbow Six Siege, is something really to marvel at as far as how they were able to take a game that had so many problems, and at the end of the day, they believed that they had something special, kept working on it and doing what the fan base wanted, and now look at it. It just tells you that if you work hard, guys, at something, and you kind of take criticisms, you take some of the things that the fan base wants, and you do those things over time, you can really create something special. We saw the same thing with No Man's Sky. And with that, guys, let me know what you guys think. 60 million players on Rainbow Six Siege is an incredible ordeal. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think? And for more Rainbow Six Siege content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has become quickly one of my most anticipated games of the year. And guys, we got some more information, first gameplay looks and things of that nature at Ubisoft Forward. And what I want to say, guys, is a couple of things here in this video. Number one is that I'm still very excited about this game. However, is this game going to be more of the same, that being like more of the same from what we've seen from Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or is this going to be kind of going back to the traditions of that of Assassin's Creed. And so I want to talk about that here. I also want to talk about the November 17th release date, which is very exciting as well. This was another game, guys, similar to Watch Dogs Legion. I thought there was a real possibility that it was actually going to get pushed into 2021 because of the pandemic. And I love that Ubisoft is going to stick with this year bringing out Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's going to have some stiff competition without a doubt, guys, later on this year. But nonetheless, this is a juggernaut of a franchise without a doubt. There are people who come to play this game year in and year out when a new title comes out, similar to that of the Call of Duty community. And so what I want to get at, though, here, guys, is, with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, now that we got our first glimpse at the gameplay, and really seeing what all this game is going to entail, even though we're obviously not going to know everything until we actually get our hands-on experience with the game. But what I will say is this. The game does, partially, looks like more of the same to what was Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, some of you out there may not think that's a bad thing whatsoever. I've said on this YouTube channel, and you guys can check out all of my Assassin's Creed content here on the YouTube channel, but what I've said on the YouTube channel, guys, is that the problem with Assassin's Creed was a couple of things. Number one was that the franchise, and don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite franchises of all time. I want this to be a successful franchise, and continue for a very long time in the future. That being said, I have said that one of the big issues Assassin's Creed has come up against is not so much an identity crisis, but they have changed the formula of what made Assassin's Creed so great in the past. That being, what really made Assassin's Creed was the stealth types of mechanics within the game. Now, what ended up happening was, guys, it turned from being a stealth-oriented game with action elements to an action game with some stealth elements. So, especially as of recently, that being like Origins and Odyssey and now into Valhalla, it does feel like these games have been much more so supposed to be action games over stealth-based combat and mechanics and such. And for some of you, that might not be a bad thing, but I just think that, from an outsider's perspective, obviously looking at the community as a whole, this has felt a lot of what people felt when Call of Duty went from being a boots on the ground game to a jetpack game. For 3 games, they went, into the jetpack era, which I believe was the dark ages of Call of Duty. I believe something similar here with Assassin's Creed. Now, it's yet to be seen with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but what I'll say is that it really has felt like, we're going into the dark ages of Assassin's Creed. That being, number one, that you have, Origins and Odyssey, which have kind of gone away from the formula, in my personal opinion. And Valhalla seems to be partially that they're kind of continuing that moving forward, where they're preferring action over that of stealth, which is what made Assassin's Creed so great in the first place. The second part of Assassin's Creed, though, is that they made, so many games, every single year. They made games every year, and Assassin's Creed isn't quite Call of Duty, right? If we're comparing the two. Call of Duty has this very much so, this brand that is able to kind of, every single year, regardless of what they bring out, they are selling, millions of copies. Not that Assassin's Creed can't do that, but Assassin's Creed was bringing out 2-3 games per year for a period of time. One on console, one on mobile, one here, one there. And so what I'm getting at is it was almost oversaturation. And so with that, I understand Ubisoft going in a direction of doing action over stealth. But what I will say is this. I stated that Assassin's Creed Valhalla needs to go back to the roots of what made Assassin's Creed so great. Now, they did make, within the presentation, did state that they even put it on the screen, stealth is going to be a part of this game, which is very exciting for me. From the gameplay, it doesn't look like stealth is going to be used that much. However, it is definitely going to be a mechanic within the game. And so I am excited about that. Even if Ubisoft decides not to do, stealth over action, as long as they kind of are starting to put the story together, because I think a lot of people out there, guys, in the community, even myself included, it started to get kind of convoluted with this story as far as like where they're trying to go here. How is this tying into each entry into the franchise? How's it tying into the overarching, story and character arcs and just arc as a franchise? Where is this all going to tie in? Is Assassin's Creed Valhalla going to tie into Revelations in one way or another? Is it going to tie into one of these other games, Black Flag, or one of the other games within the franchise in one way or shape or form? And they're kind of alluding to that within the first trailer that we got for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I'm hoping that they do that. I think at the end of the day, though, guys, we are somewhat getting some of the same, but I think Ubisoft realizes that there are things, though, that the fan base really wants. Stealth being one of them, another being that this needs to tie in one way, shape, or form to the overarching franchise of Assassin's Creed. And so I do think that they are going to do that. I really do. From the gameplay perspective, it seems like a lot of action once again, which, like I said, guys, I have no problem with action, but I think that when you start to go away from what the franchise was, it starts to feel less like that franchise. It starts to feel like other games out there. And so I just don't want that to happen here with Assassin's Creed. Valhalla, I've said this as well. Some of the best graphics I have seen within Assassin's Creed. I mean, the best, without a doubt, in Valhalla. Incredible graphics, some of the best graphics that we've seen to date, and I think that they're going to look incredible on the next-gen consoles and such. This game has a real, a real step in the right direction, in my personal opinion, for the Assassin's Creed franchise, as long as they balance things in a positive way. I would have liked to see, if they were going to be adding like multiplayer elements to this game and things of that nature. We didn't get that. We'll probably see more like other game modes and things of that nature as we get closer to the game. But from what it looks like from the story, visceral, gritty, dark story. I like that a lot. I'm excited about it, guys, without a doubt. There's just things, and there's question marks here. Is this just going to be more of the same from what we've gotten from Odyssey and Origins? Or is this going to really take us into a new direction or kind of bring us back to the traditions of what was Assassin's Creed of the past? But with that, guys, I want to pass the question on to all of you. November 17th is, it's up and coming here. It's going to be here before you know it. I'm going to have a lot more content on the YouTube channel about Assassin's Creed Valhalla here that you guys will be able to check out. Let me know, though, what you guys think about Assassin's Creed Valhalla at this point in time. Are you guys really excited about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Assassin's Creed Valhalla content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Far Cry 6 is one of those games, guys, that has been talked about. The rumblings have been coming out about, Far Cry 6. People have been very excited to hear more about the continuation of this franchise, myself included. I gotta say, guys, even though Far Cry 5 had, those who loved the game, those who hated the game, I was one of the people who really appreciated this, entry into the franchise. I thought that Far Cry 5, they're slowly but surely getting better and better in my personal opinion. I love the villains. I love kind of everything that they're doing here. There's a few things that, obviously just like any game out there, that bother me about, each, entry into this franchise. Far Cry 5 is certainly no different here, but I'm excited, let's put it that way, for the continuation of this main narrative going forward. Far Cry 6, guys, looks like it could certainly be that. I had my question marks when Giancarlo Esposito was going to be the new villain. I had some real question marks there. What is this going to look like? Is it going to be something that we really enjoy? Is it going to be something that we don't really enjoy? I just didn't know what I really felt about Giancarlo Esposito as the villain. But after watching the official trailer come out, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. The thing that makes Far Cry different from every other franchise out there are really the villains. The villains in these, in these games are something that, Ubisoft really needs to take incredible amounts of pride in. They do a great job, guys, of creating these, narratives around these villains. And these villains being, just kind of us connecting with them in one way, shape, or form. And I think that they do a really good job of, getting these, the tension built. getting the scares built up, even like, in Far Cry 5, having a number of different very psychological, elements within that game and such. And it looks like Far Cry 6 is going to have things very similar. Now, Giancarlo Esposito is playing Anson Castillo, who is going to be the upcoming villain here. Now, we wonder if it's going to be just him or if there's going to be other villains as well, similar to like the Seed family in a Far Cry 5. It'll be very interesting to say the least. But what I want to talk about, guys, is Far Cry 6 is getting released February 18th, which, of course, February 18th, 2021. This game is closer than we thought that it was going to. I thought it was going to be maybe later in 2021. It's coming out in February, though. That is very exciting, guys, because this game is closer than we think. Now, of course, take it with a pinch of salt because of the pandemic going on. It may get pushed back, may come even closer or sooner, depending on what happens. But take it with a pinch of salt. But let's just say that it sticks with that February 18th, 2021 release date. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am. Now, we didn't really get much else outside of just the trailer. We didn't see any gameplay. We don't know if there's going to be multiplayer. We don't know what other game modes there's going to be. But what we got was our first glimpse at this game. And what I will tell you is right off the bat is that we are going to be in on another very, a very gritty, dark story once again in this franchise. And once again, we're going to be, most likely going to be going into some new locations, some new environments. I'm wondering if this is going to be directly after Far Cry 5 or when they're planning on doing that, like the time period is as far as that's concerned. But this is going to be something I think we're all going to really enjoy. At least from an outsider's perspective and very early reactions. I gotta say, guys, I loved the trailer. I loved everything about it. I thought it was great. I thought that there was very gritty feelings to it. I loved the voice acting right off the bat with Giancarlo Esposito. I think the idea of him using a grenade and kind of using analogies with it. I just thought overall, guys, from a graphical standpoint, from where it looks like what they're trying to do with the story, from a setting perspective, I love the red smoke that they've got everywhere. This is something that could be very special, and I'm hoping that it is, guys. Now, we're going to have to wait to start seeing like the official gameplay, see really what it's all going to look like. But from a initial reaction to the trailer, and of course the release date, I got to give it a 2 big thumbs up, guys. I think this is going to be a fantastic story, to say the least. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I'm really excited about it. Next-gen hardware, the graphics, guys, are going to be elevated. I hope that we're going to get multiplayer modes. I'm hoping we get more modes outside of just the campaign and such. But at the end of the day, I think they knocked it out of the park with Giancarlo Esposito, which I was a little bit skeptical about at first. But after hearing the voice acting going on there and seeing the take of this villain, I'm all in. I'm all in on it, guys. One of the big things about the villains in Far Cry as a franchise is having differences. There's similarities to each of these villains, but there's differences as well. And I think that's really important moving into Far Cry 6. It's coming sooner than we thought, guys. February 18th, 2021, guys, is when we're going to get our hands on Far Cry 6. And what I'll say, guys, is that you guys can check out all the Far Cry content here on the YouTube channel. We're going to be making a lot of Far Cry 6 content here, so definitely stay tuned for that. And for more Far Cry 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.